Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Neck Up Live. My name is Jeff Ramey with my co-host Eugene Collins, and we have our guest here this evening, Avery Book. Avery Book is a 2020 graduate of Ironton High School, and he is the current starting punter for the University of Akron Zips. So welcome to the show, Avery.
Hey,
Welcome.
thank you.
Avery, you've been on quite a journey the last
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. So, you know, I just want to, the only couple things I want to add here, I'm going to let you tell your story, is that you are currently the eighth ranked punter in the nation. If I'm not mistaken, there's 134 Division I punters, 133 roughly. You're eighth in the country, averaging 46.89 yards per punt. And I do want to add that you were last year at Augustana University Division II second team All-American. So I'm just going to let you take it from here, kind of tell your journey, maybe starting in high school and working all the way up to where you're at now.
Gotcha. Yeah. So my high school and early journey was kind of a weird road for sure. So when I first started out, went to Portsmouth West for up until third grade. Then I went to Notre Dame from fourth to sixth. And that time at Notre Dame was when I realized I wanted to learn how to punt/kick footballs. Didn't really know if I could do too much with it. I just knew I wanted to do it and pursue it. And then from there, my dad got a job up in Columbus, and then we moved up to Hilliard Davidson up until my junior year. And when I was at Hilliard Davidson, I didn't unfortunately get the chance to be the starting punter or the kicker. There were some politics being played for sure. The starting punter and the starting kicker, both their parents were the head of the fundraising for the athletic department of the school. So anything the kid kind of asked for, they kind of got, unfortunately. So as a result, I kind of knew I needed to change of scenery to give myself even a chance to play. So luckily, we knew Trevin and that whole crew, and we decided to move down there and give myself a chance to play there. And as a result, became an all-state kicker there. Didn't really know I wanted to be a punter up until college. Kicking was my main gig, and that's what I wanted to do. But then punting kind of came to me much more naturally, a lot easier on the joints, and I just kind of took it and ran with it. At Glenville, my freshman year, I was a starting place kicker and the punter and the kickoff guy. And then sophomore year, I went from that just to the punter. They got a JUCO transfer kicker. And as a result, I just focused on punting, and I feel like that's when I made my strides in punting and got significantly better. And then from then, I graduated at Glenville, got my undergrad in 3 years, and then transferred to Augustana. I never really got any Division One until after I committed to Augustana. When I committed to Augustana, Ohio State reached out to me, said, "Hey, like, we want you to be the backup here, and you could," because they had a hunch Jesse Mirko was going to leave after that past year, and I had the chance to be the guy there. And I said, "Sure, like, let's see if it happens." And then I went to a kicking camp with them. They're like there was like three coaches there, two special team analysis guys, and then Parker Fleming, who was the head special teams coach there. And he, of the two analysis guys, like, "You're so much better than everyone else. We want you." And I'm like, "Shoot, okay, I'll drop Augustana and come to Ohio State for sure," because there was NIL money potentially on the table, a lot closer to home. It's Ohio State, right? And then I talked to Fleming about it, and he's like, "Well, you're not right-footed, you're not Australian, we don't want you." I'm like, okay. And that's when I was like, screw Ohio State, screw all of them. I don't really care. And that's kind of where that burning desire just to be better than everyone else came from. And then that's when Augustana hit, and I did really well that year. And like, just kind of keeping that in the back of my head just always kind of fueled me. And then Augustana happened, and then I didn't know I was transferring from Augustana until May, I don't know, like 20th, and the portal closed May 31st. So I didn't know I was transferring. My kicking coach, Tim Williams, reached out to me saying, "Hey, there's a Division 1 school in the out there that's looking for a guy, and you are better than everyone else that they're looking at. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, sure, why not? I didn't think it was actually going to come to fruition, being so late in the process, and then it happened. The team ended up being Akron, and then was able to get my scholarship and full ride, really close to home. Knew that we were going to play some pretty cool games: Ohio State, Rutgers, South Carolina. And I'm like, shoot, why not get another master's degree and then go from there?
Mm-hmm. So right away, Avery, you've had several instances where you were told that you're not good enough.
Pretty
Uh,
much, yeah.
so did you develop a chip? How important do you think having a chip is, and do you still have a chip?
I think a chip is almost necessary, at least for me. Like when I was at Hilliard Davidson, I was kind of supposed to be the dude. Like I was going to be the starting punter kicker from freshman year, or well, not really freshman year because I didn't play freshman, but from sophomore to senior year. And it didn't help that, for one, there was politics, and two, I also got a pretty bad hip injury. So the coaches held that against me, and that's kind of fueled me then be like, hey, like let's show these guys up. But then that chip kind of just got bigger and bigger as time got, and then that I feel like that just keeps driving me. And like right now, I'd say my chip is just, I'd say still a lot of it's Ohio State, and it's still those coaches at Hilliard Davidson. Like I almost childish. I hold on to grudges when it comes to stuff like that, just for energy and just desire to keep going. Like obviously in college athletics, there's times where you're done, right? And as a result, like you got to dig deep and you got to find something. And my something is just um, like those coaches at Ohio State and the coaches at Hilliard Davidson. I just want to show them wrong, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I had some of the same situations. People told me I wasn't good enough. I had a chip. And to be honest with you, some of them are my friends today.
Yeah.
I don't treat them any different. And actually, in my mind, I say thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for saying I wasn't good enough and giving me that chip and that motivation. So actually, in some way, it's a blessing.
Oh, for sure. In some ways, it's a blessing. At the time, obviously, your question is like, why is this happening? Is this really for me? I mean, heck, right? I've had that this summer. Like, I had a couple bad days during camp. It's like, do I really want to be here? Should I still be at Augustana? Did I mess up? Right? No one knows. Everyone goes through the same thing. And,
Mm-hmm.
like, you just got to accept it and just keep going. It's hard sometimes, but you just gotta keep going forward.
Mm-hmm. So you punted against Ohio State. Actually, I didn't know the backstory there.
Yeah.
Six punts on the day, averaged 48.2 yards per punt in the shoe. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about, you're still an Ohio guy, so that still had to be special.
Yeah.
110,000, whatever they seat. Just kind of, can you walk us through that day, just the emotions of that day?
The emotions of the day. I mean, I just couldn't stop smiling because it was my time to show Ohio State what they missed. That's how I saw the day. And my first kick, I wasn't a good one. I was kind of in my head, but also special teams coach on Akron. He told me to look for something. I was analyzing it way too hard on the field, and as a result, I just didn't let myself perform. But then after that, the switch hit, and I was good for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it was cool. Like it was definitely a cool experience. Like 110,000 people. I've never played in a stadium more than really probably 20, 30,000 people. I mean, that was an experience. Definitely that opening kickoff. When there was a big play, it erupted. Like, I mean, something I've never experienced while being on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, it was definitely a cool experience. I obviously wish everyone could experience it, but it's hard. Like, I mean, I had to work my butt off to get just to where I'm at, and I'm still not where I want to be, right? And uh but back to the question, Ohio State was awesome. Just constant emotion, was just happy. Obviously some anger. I feel like I have to play angry to perform at my best. Like almost like I mean, I know I don't play basketball, but almost like a Mamba mentality, like screw everyone, screw everything else. I just got to go do me. It's kind of how I go about it.
Mm-hmm.
Avery, talk about your academics. I find it unique that you've been at all of these different places, but you were able to focus and get your degrees. Seems like at every spot you were at.
Yeah. So at Glenville, I was taking almost 20 credit hours a semester. I graduated in 3 years. Um, it was rough at times, but I graduated in three, had a 4.0, and then I went to Augustana, and then I was getting my MBA, and then I want to say it was like a 3.9. I got a B plus in one class over a stupid mistake. And then I'm here at Akron. Not too many grades are in, so I don't know. I can't tell you what my GPA is right now, but um, just a lot of time. Like, I mean, time management as a college athlete is definitely, you got to learn it. It's hard. Like, I mean, there's plenty of kids here and at Glenville, and not really at Augustana, mostly Glenville and here, that they don't. It's hard. They don't understand the concept of having that time management, and as a result, grades suffer,
Right.
on the field performance suffers, but having that base gets you to have your academics in check and lets you perform on the field, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are you majoring in?
So I got my undergrad in Masters of Business, or not that. That's the next one. I got my undergrad in just business administration because I did the math. That was the quickest degree I could get in 3 years. And then I got my Master's of Business Administration from Augustana, and then I'm getting my Master's of Applied Politics from here at Akron, and then took my LSAT this summer, and then I plan on going to law school.
Okay, very good.
So you want to follow in your dad's footsteps?
I don't know if I want to follow. I just know I want the degree. I'm here.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay. So that kind of leads me to my next question. Your dad was if I'm not mistaken, Division I golfer, VCU. Is that correct? So I see a lot of. What is it?
At Western Michigan.
Western Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh, he went to law school at VCU. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At William and Mary. Yeah.
Okay. William and Mary. Okay. But he was a Division I athlete, and I
Mhm.
see a lot of similarities between a golfer and a punter and a kicker. You
Mhm.
can kind of feel like you're in an island, and all the focus is on you. How much did your dad help you? Dealing with the mental side of being an athlete, and especially a Division I athlete.
It's every day. I mean, I call him every day. I mean, whether it's academically or if it's physically or whatever it may be, you always are going to struggle something mentally, physically, whatever, right? Like last week, I had a little tweak of my knee and I was kind of stressing about it, right? First call, my dad, and then just got to get through the mental piece, have that foundation. I am blessed enough to have my parents like I do, and I can call whenever and ask for advice. But no, my dad always made similarities between golf and kicking. Like as you get better, that V of spraying golf balls becomes like this to this, right? Same thing with field goals and punting. You just want your whole goal is to tighten that V and make it closer and closer to perfection. Perfection it's hard. It's not really possible. Obviously, I strive for it, and that's why I feel like I have some trouble mentally because I hold myself to such a high standard. But I feel like also in that same breath, you have to have that high standard or you're just going to let yourself go.
Mm-hmm. Very
Hey,
good.
how do you after kind of building yourself up to the game, and now okay, the game is over. How do you decompress and kind of let that go and get ready for your next game?
That's probably my weakest section of football. No doubt. Like I harp on stuff for a while. Like after what game was that? Colgate. I had a questionable punt and almost let it go on for too long. But like my rule that I give myself, sometimes I follow it, sometimes I don't. It's 24 hours gone. Like it never happened. That's what I strive for, but obviously in some cases it's harder. And then, but that's my goal, and I've been trying to get better at it. And that's kind of been my goal this year because And I feel like at Augustana, that's why I performed so well, because I didn't really care about statistics. I didn't care about how far the ball went, how high the ball went. I didn't care about net yards. I just cared about having fun and kicking the ball as far as I possibly could, essentially. And then this year, I definitely have been paying more attention to stats and paying more attention to um, just everything around me. And I feel like that builds more pressure upon me and upon others. Like, not just me, other guys are doing the same thing. And almost, I feel like, I mean, you get told ignorance is bliss. And I feel like it's kind of the same situation here. You kind of just want to be ignorant of everything going on around you. Just focus on you and let it happen.
Right. Well, one of the things that I think can help you a little bit is, every kick has to be independent of the other.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take that attitude, you'll quickly forget about the last one and you move on to the next one or the next play. So every play has to be independent of the other.
Yeah, for sure. And like, so that's what I try to do. But like, obviously, when you have a bad kick, it's gonna stay in your mind a little bit. But when that happens, almost that's when my switch, like I describe it as a switch. That's when my switch gets even more extreme. Like my focus goes to a different level. Like, I don't know if you watched the games, but Ohio State, I had that questionable punt, opening punt. Next punt was a 60-yard punt, and then Colgate second punt was a questionable punt. After that, I had multiple 55+ punts, and then South Carolina, that bad punt, that was I don't count that one because I had a 60-yard punt, and then we got an illegal formation. I was already off the field, and I get called back on to kick, and I just mentally wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've heard this. You mentioned the Mamba mentality, Kobe Bryant, and there's a story. The story, I think it's his rookie year, where he missed a game-winning shot, and he's on the bench with a towel over his head, and one of the reporters asked him, if he was upset by missing the game-winning shot, and he said, "No, I wasn't upset. Of course, I wanted to make the shot." And they said, "Well, what were you thinking about?" And he was thinking about, how can I make sure I don't miss the next one,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't, sad or mad, but he was more trying to focus on the next shot. So when it happened again, he was going to make it. And I think that's kind of what you're trying to say, and that's hard to do, So, how did you get to that point? You don't just have that mentality and that mindset. How do you develop that mindset?
I feel like that mindset mostly started with me at Ironton, like at Hilliard Davidson. Like, I didn't really have that mindset. I was still young. I didn't know if I wanted to kick quite yet. But then when I got to Ironton, like, I kind of realized it's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to college for it, maybe get my college paid for it. And then at Ironton, I just got tired of being bad. Like, I mean, you just get to that point. Like, I'm tired of not being where I want to be or where I should be. And that's kind of, you just decide to hit that next level of focus. And then once that happens, it's like, it's almost over. Like, it's game over for everyone else, because like, you're so much more attentive and focused than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I strive to be. And I feel like I'm still at that, and it's only getting better or more productive.
Mm-hmm. Avery, how important is self-care? Sleep optimization, your diet,
Yeah,
nutrition, strength training. How important is that to your performance?
I'd say it's very crucial. I mean, if without it, it's detrimental. I'll make a comparison. So like at Glenville, we had a lot of kids. I mean, being in Glenville, I don't know if you've ever been, there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, food there, not the best options.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only fun, like, stuff that you can decompress and like take care of yourself is the outdoors. Like, that was probably the best place in West Virginia for outdoorsy stuff. But when it came to health of food and all that other stuff, man, there was nothing. And like, as a result, you had a lot of dudes who kind of would just keep getting hurt almost chronically. Like, you would have just the malnutrition. And then at Augustana had the most food per capita than anywhere else in the nation, just like Sioux Falls City itself. And as a result, like, I mean, we never really had injuries. Like, you had Whole Foods, you had all the good food out there, and like as a result, everyone's body was taken care of, and everyone wanted to be great. And then here at Akron, it's closer to Glenville than Augustana on that scale, I'd say. The food here, um, it's not as great as Sioux Falls by any stretch. Like, to get good food, you have to drive 30 minutes on us, like one way. And being a college student, you don't have the money to do that all the time, right?
Mhm.
To go get groceries from the Whole Foods, get groceries from wherever it may be,
Mhm.
right? And as a result, you're kind of just stuck with the local stuff and getting fed the not so healthy stuff. And I feel like that's definitely part of the reason why we have injuries on the team and mental blunders, like people just not being able to take care of their body to the peak performance as it should be.
Mhm. Mhm. How about sleep optimization? You know, how
Yeah,
important is
sleep. I mean, I feel like I take care of myself with sleep a lot. So I have night classes with my master's program. So my day from 1 to 9 is gone because I got practice and then straight to class. And then, so essentially, when I get home from class, it's protein shake or some type of snack, and then straight to sleep. And then I'm
that?
waking up at 5:30 or I'm waking up at 6:30, depending if we have lifting or not.
Mhm.
So I mean, I'm sleeping close to 7.5, 8 hours a night,
Mhm.
and I feel like that's you got to have that. If you can have more, do it. But obviously, too much is a thing too.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
So Tim Williams, you said you have a kicking punting coach.
Yeah,
Is that
he's out in Dayton, and he was the all-century kicker punter for Ohio State. His
Mhm.
unfortunate claim to fame was he's the one who kicked to Desmond Howard, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, that's
That's
his
right.
thing. And I told him after the Ohio State game because we had a fake for Ohio State. We didn't call it, but if I scored a touchdown, I was going to hit the Desmond Howard Heisman in the end zone. But but we never called it. So and I probably would have
Yeah.
got killed, but it would have been fun.
Yeah. So how does that work? You know, you have a punting coach, you know, kicking coach at Akron. I'm a special teams coach, but
Yeah.
then you have your own personal coach. You know, tell us about that dynamic.
So, yeah, so like special teams and kicking coach, they're kind of different realms completely. So like special teams coach, they're just the dudes who are really putting the schemes together. They shouldn't be the ones who are trying to coach you, trying to change your drop, trying to change your swing because they've never done it. Unless if they're I'm not too sure if there's any special teams coach who has done it,
Yeah.
right? Unless if you're getting a kid, unless if the special teams coach is a person who actually played collegiately or played professionally, they should not be coaching you on how to kick a ball. Like it's almost like it's a mental game at that point. They're just messing with you. It's not worth the breath. But then a kicking coach, that's their whole specialty. Tim, he played for Ohio State for 4 years as a freshman, did really well. Didn't make it to the NFL, did Arena League for a while, but he knows what he's doing. He's coached many kids like Drew Basil,
Mhm.
um, Mike Nugent, Kaiser, forget his first name. He was the punter for the um, Chargers for however many years. But he's got a good track record of kids, and he's a great guy. I mean, I called him today, matter of fact, like just a good guy. And having a kicking coach, especially if you're wanting to get involved in the kicking world, is almost a necessity.
Mhm.
Do you have any aspirations of kicking at the next level?
I mean, that's goal one, and then goal two is the law school. So that's my backup plan is law school. I think I definitely have the leg to play at the next level. I mean, we've had scouts at every practice, and the liaison says that they talk about me a decent amount, which is a cool thing. But at the same time, you can't think too much about it because you got to focus on the task at hand. But I mean, the goal is to try to do at the next level for like a year or two if I could. And if not, it's all good. I got a backup plan.
Do you know offhand what they play, what the NFL pays kickers?
I think if you make the practice squad and like for the year, I think the minimum salary, no matter what, is around 600.
Okay.
It's either 600 or 400. They've been upping it like every other year. I
Mhm.
don't really know what the real number is anymore.
Okay.
So Avery, one thing in our journal, we have a journal entry talking about self-awareness, doing an honest self-assessment. So, where do you think you need to improve in order to kick the next level?
Um, take probably 2 or 3 notches off myself. Definitely, that's the first step, and then after that is probably just get more solid contact and more hang time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the first step is more mental than it is physical. Is I need to chill out almost because I put too much pressure on myself, and I've been doing that since high school.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been getting better at it, but I'm still not nearly good enough at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that pressure is kind of a double-edged sword. I think you need to have it to motivate you.
Mhm.
I think you need to have a little bit of performance anxiety to motivate you, but you don't want it to become like a something that paralyzes you. So there's a fine line. Just try to keep it motivational and try to maintain perspective and keep it simple. As you're talking, I'm thinking about baseball. I remember when I was struggling as a hitter, and I struggled a lot, but I would always go back to say, look, I got to quit worrying about the results. I'm just going to try to put the barrel of the bat on the ball and let the results happen.
Yeah.
And I think I'm sitting here thinking that's kind of how I would probably think as a punter. Just make solid contact, and that's your main focus, and the results will happen.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I feel like that was a lot of my best balls at Augustana last year for sure. Like, um, my best ball at Augustana, I mean, I want to think I flew it 65, and I feel like I barely hit the ball.
Mm.
Like, it's just, you got to get to the point mentally where it's just like, it's what happens, happens. Like, screw it. Right. I mean, because if you keep on thinking you're over analyzing while you're on the field, it's not going to go well. And I mean, I've done that hell twice this season, and I've been doing this since high school, right? So, I mean, you just got the mental piece is very, very crucial, and it's never ending. It's the same thing with the golf, right? You go golfing for however many weeks at a time, you think you're playing your best game ever, then you take a week break, and now it feels completely foreign. You just got to keep going. You can't stop.
That's true. Very true. Avery, we got some. We're trying to reach some young athletes, and you've given us a lot of great information, a lot of insight. Have a tremendous story. Do you have anything else you'd want to add that maybe you think is important for our young athletes who are listening to understand, maybe about the physical side or the mental side?
The physical side in particular, like in high school, that was like a big flaw for me. Not really a flaw. It was just genetically. I couldn't overcome it. I couldn't gain weight. I couldn't get bigger really until freshman, sophomore year of college. So like as a result, I didn't get recruited in high school. So I had to take what offers that came to me out of high school, and all I had was Glenville State, West Virginia State, and then some other PWOs that I didn't want to entertain. And as a result, like I mean, I'm glad with my decision at Glenville. Had a great time, met some great people, but size as a high schooler is way more important than you think. And if you can't get it yet, just because you can't get it yet, like some people, it's just like for me, I couldn't gain weight for another 2 years out of high school. So if that's the case and that's what you want, you gotta, you just gotta strap in and get ready for the ride because it's going to get bumpy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everyone,
There you go.
the most impressive things, and I've met you. This is the first time I've met you, but um, for someone who's been at 3 different stops academically, um, to be able to say, I got my degree at Glenville, and then I went to my next stop and I got my master's, and I'm at Akron, which is my third stop, and I'm going to have my second master's, is quite an accomplishment. And don't ever let that get lost in your story, because a lot of times people see people transferring and getting in the portal. And one of the questions that a lot of people always say is, well, what happens if the person gets hurt and they don't have a degree, and but you've covered all your bases, and your parents have got to be really proud of what you've accomplished.
No, for sure. I mean, they've said it a couple of times, and I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm very blessed for the family that I have and the support base I got. But obviously, and that's the other thing to the if the kids are still watching or listening, you got to go to a school that you know you can get a degree. Like, I mean, if you have a 2.7 GPA in high school and you're trying to go play football at Stanford, sorry,
Mm.
good luck, right?
Right.
You need to go to a school that aligns with your expectations and your potential, I guess you should say.
Absolutely.
No, great point. That's Avery, you have anything else you want to add, or you?
Not at the moment, no. I
Okay.
mean, just thank you guys for having me for sure. It's been
Oh,
awesome.
Thank you for joining us. I love your story. I love your perseverance, your desire, your grit, your determination. I mean, a lot of lessons to learn from you, man, and just can't wait to see how the seasons end up. And I believe that you're going to get an opportunity at the next level.
I hope. I mean, that the goal is just at least try for 1 year, and if it doesn't happen, so be it. But the goal is to try to make a living off of it for sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, you have a master's degree, 2 master's degree, and you're going to be just fine, right? You're going to be
that's the plan.
So before we close here, I just wanted to remind everyone you can check out our website, checkupneckup.com. That's neck up with a K. The K meaning we're going to try to give you the knowledge from the neck up. We think that's the difference maker between the good and the great, and those that are, don't reach their potential, controlling your emotions and your mindset. Check us out on YouTube at Neck Up Live. Again, that's Neck Up with a K. We have all of our podcasts posted there to view, and we will have this latest podcast with Avery Book. It'll be on there tonight. So, Avery, thank you again. Fine young man. I know your parents very well. I know they're very proud of you, and everybody here in Southern Ohio is very proud of you and want to follow the rest of your season. And whatever you do after the season, we want to keep a close eye on you and be rooting for you.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Avery.
Yep. Thank you.